Hello, beautiful beings. Let me see how much time I have. Plenty. Ancients, what would you like to talk about? We just got back from Satsang. I hold group Satsang every Wednesday night at a place called Imagine Health in the town I live in. It was absolutely amazing. What's really coming in right now is when things feel like they're starting to change. I used to look back to things that felt comfortable or even normal to me. And I don't do that anymore. I still haven't smoked pot. I haven't had any desire to smoke since I quit. That was on August 12th. And I feel a change is here. Things are changing. Well, things are always changing, but I think you know what I mean. And that used to make me feel uncomfortable in a way to where I would want to reach out for something that felt familiar. And I have found over the years, and I don't feel like any of it was a mistake. However, at the point I am now, reaching out for something that felt comfortable to me for a long time would just be going another round with it and then ultimately releasing it again. Which is the way that growth looks, is doing something over and over until I've learned all the lessons I need to learn from that experience. I haven't made a video for quite a long time now, and I still get a little bit of mind activity around it because I love making videos. I feel like I am connecting with you. And I love that feeling. It's holding satsang. That's what I love the most, is connecting with other people at a heart level. And when I make videos, I know I'm just looking into my little camera here. However, I feel a connection. I feel like you're right here with me and I'm talking right to you, whoever you may be. Ancients, is there anything else at all? Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I had two gentlemen over to check my camper out for me and help me. You know, I haven't known how to fix the things that are broken in it. And so these two men came over and they checked it out for me, and I had a much better idea of what it would take to be able to live in it this winter. And I decided no. I was feeling like I had to live in it for some reason, but the ancients were like, you don't have to live in your camper. You do not have to rough it that rough. I mean, wintertime in a camper, I don't care how well I would insulate it. I still feel like it would really be roughing it. Plus I still wouldn't have hot water. So I let that go, the idea of staying here in the winter, and I felt so much better. I have really seen that anything that my mind is thinking about, whether it be really good or really negative, it's still just thinking. And I like the place where I'm not thinking. I like to be present. Well, that's my natural state. It's all of our natural state. So, but there was still a time in my ascension that I would still go to things like the twin flame concept. I was stuck on that for, I say it was over 4 years, but all in all, it was 6 years. And it was a lesson, you know, it was an absolute lesson I had to go through. But this whole, the twin flame concept really kept feeding the person that I always thought I was. But I've been free from that for quite a long time now. Since last spring, I was able to completely shed that. I don't give it any attention at all. If any thoughts, rarely do I even notice that any thoughts about that person I was perceiving to be my twin, rarely do I even see any thoughts come in at all. And if a thought does come in, I don't entertain it. I don't resist it. I don't try to push it away. I just turn my attention back to presence. and it's gone. That's how I starve any useless personal identity, any habitual ways of thinking that I've had, is by turning my attention back to presence. And if you have not accessed presence yet, then a really, really good way to turn my attention away from negative thoughts or just too much thinking in general, before I woke up with Muji, before I accessed presence, was to, like Eckhart taught me, to focus on my hands and the feeling of life force in my hands. Just, going down into the body, paying attention to my breathing, but not trying to control it. Any type of function in my body that I have zero control over is a really, really great way to turn my attention away from useless thinking. So when the gentlemen were over here checking out my camper, I had put my back out. My back had been out for several days, and I hadn't drove my car, and so my battery was dead. And I got a jump from my neighbor that morning, but I had one of the men is a mechanic, and we had my hood up, and he brought a battery reviver over with him and put it on there and was trying to revive my battery, and it actually did work. So in the meantime, there was another man that has lived here at the RV park for a really long time that I've noticed. He knew the mechanic guy, and he stopped, and he was driving out of the park, and he stopped, and he said, Mitch, if you find that young lady a car, I'll buy it for her. That was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. And so I've gotten to the point where, I was really, really excited. I cried and oh my gosh. But I also knew that this man that offered to do that for me is a severe alcoholic. I have avoided him the whole time when I saw him move in here, I have avoided him. And yeah, it may be judgy. However, I can feel people's energy, and I felt like he was watching me a lot. You can feel when people are watching you. Anyway, so I thought, wow, that's an incredibly nice thing for him to offer. But I also did notice that he'd been drinking too. And I said, does he really mean it? Like, he's been drinking. I can totally tell that. And he said, yeah, he does. He does mean it. He's a really good person. Okay, so fast forward to now. I have gotten excited about a couple different vehicles, and he told me it's for a tax write-off. I was setting a very firm boundary for myself the other day because he was saying he wanted to buy me like a $40,000 vehicle, and I said, no way. That means a car payment. You would be making payments on it. I was thinking that I would eventually have to be making the payments, but if he was making payments, then that means his name is on it. I said, I am not going to have a man buy me a vehicle and have his name on it. No. If you're doing this out of the kindness of your heart, awesome. Thank you so much. I would be incredibly grateful for that. However, I don't want it if there are any strings attached, because he drove past and we were talking for a few minutes, and he said, will you be my friend? And I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll be your friend. I said, it doesn't mean I'm going to come and visit you or even talk to you on the phone. Really no friendship. And, after we had that interaction is when I left him a message saying, I'm not going to be friends with somebody just because they buy me something. That is a string. That's a string. Oh, okay, this is too good to be true. So I found myself thinking about it too much. Like, can I really trust this person? And is it really going to happen? And I talked to the ancients this morning, and I said, this feels very familiar to me. I've been in this situation before, not this specific type, but the type where I'm waiting for something. When I'm trusting the divine and I'm in presence, I'm not waiting for anything. I'm waiting for the next miracle to come, but that's not even waiting, I just know that everything is working out for me, always. I'm not in fear, I'm not in my head, I'm not, overly excited about anything, I'm not worried about anything. That may not sound very attractive to, certain people. However, it's absolute bliss, the state of mind that I'm in now. So after I had the talk with the ancients, and they're like, well, you're waiting. and you're wondering and you're thinking too much about this. I was just like, oh yeah, okay. And now, since I realized that, I'm just not entertaining it at all. If the thought pops in, I just turn my attention back to presence. Turning my attention back to presence has not always been as easy as I'm saying it is. It has taken a lot of practice. But I always knew that the practice that I was doing, going from person to presence over the last May, June, July, August, September, over the last 8 years and 4 months since I woke up with Muji, I always knew that it would be worth it. You know, because I trust the ones that I listen to that are already where I've been practicing to get. It's not even, I've only had to, it's our natural state, but I've only had to practice getting there because I had forgotten that it's my natural state. So, you know, it just takes, well, yeah, that's right. They're saying it took a while to condition us into believing we were a person. So it just seemed like pretty hard work for a while because I was aware of the process. And when we are being conditioned from birth, we're not aware of the process. So even though it has felt incredibly difficult at times to go through this ascension process, it never felt difficult in the way that it wouldn't be worth it, and it wasn't worth it. So a lot of times it felt like there was nothing happening, but that was just my mind. That was just my mind saying there's nothing happening. There is always something happening. The divine is always at work in my life. Always. Always, always present. Never changing. Always here for me. My mind is the only thing that would ever say that nothing is happening in a bad way. Well, I'm really hungry now, so I'm going to go eat. I've been doing, so great at eating. I really love to eat. For those of you that know, and for those of you that don't know, I was anorexic for a very long time, and that is one of the last things that I have been freed from. Is, very subtle thoughts would come in about, oh, that doesn't sound good, oh man, that's the last thing I want to do is eat. Well, I was still entertaining those. Even as I have gained weight, I believe there's a perfect weight for each body. And I feel like I'm at my perfect weight now. I feel very healthy. I have a tummy. I call it my puddin'. And for a while, my mind did not like the feeling of having a tummy at all. It wanted it to be flat, the anorexic. So I don't follow any of those thoughts anymore. And if you're anorexic, have a problem eating, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can talk to us about anything, absolutely any life situation we will talk to you about. It's not that I'm a know-it-all. I don't know anything, but I have been working at being a clear open channel, and I have also been through my own life lessons that I have learned a great deal from. And so I think that's it. Ancients, is there anything else you want to talk about? The fear prayer. I would like to share the fear prayer with you. It is, remove this fear and direct my attention to what you would have me be. It is, even if a person doesn't realize it, whatever has bothered me in the past that I couldn't stop thinking about, at the taproot was fear. Always. So I have said that hundreds of times a day at times, and it really, really works. Even if it doesn't feel like it's working, just like taking an antibiotic when a person has been very sick, it doesn't feel like we're getting better yet, but it just takes a little while, and I always see the results. Oh yeah, and I have recently started stretching again because I have been so busy this summer cleaning houses, and I stopped stretching. I even got a message from somebody on YouTube asking if I was still doing my stretches, and I was doing them, but nothing like I needed to. Like I'd, kind of do a couple downward dogs, or, just putting one leg over the other, sitting here and pressing on my knee. That's it. Not a full stretching routine. And so I said, yes, I am. But I also knew that it was a message for me. So whoever, I can't remember who left me that message, but the divine was speaking through you, telling me I better get my butt stretching again. And, I put my back out, and it's been miserable. However, I've been stretching again faithfully, and it's getting better. I do go to the chiropractor also, but I was finding myself just relying on going to the chiropractor, and that was not working. So a balance in everything, and more water. So, and sugar is absolute poison for my body. If I eat sugar, which I still do, but just a little tiny bit, but if I eat too much, I feel it in my joints the very next day. So, okay, didn't know I was going to say all that. I'm really happy that I felt compelled to record a video, though. It's quite a joyful feeling for me, and the ancients also. So we love you so much, and don't hesitate to reach out if you're absolutely miserable and you can't stop thinking and you're trying to figure things out but you're not getting any answers. That's just mental ping pong, and one conversation with us could absolutely help pull you out of where you feel you've been stuck. So, satsongwithmamag@gmail.com, or leave me a comment in the comment section.